No one does. You get through a draft, you want to pick off 2 or 3 starters. That's the way it works. Every time you draft, that's what you want to do. Therefore, you're going to miss on some, man. That's just the way it is. And hey, I getting back on the name dropping thing, multiple writers that I've talked to said Onwuzurike, teams were trying to move up into the end of the first round to get him. Mm-hmm. Multiple teams. He was a hot commodity.
He was. We took him right from out from under the Eagles. The Eagles were very upset that they missed out on him. And, yeah, other teams were trying to move up to get him. So even with the back injury, like, that was already there, or the struggles with the injury that was already there, he was a hot commodity.
Right. And I don't want to be dismissive about it, because he is a person and stuff like that, and I hope he makes his way back. But on the analytical side of it, some people aren't going to make it, D-Mac.
Right.
Like, it's attrition. That's the way it is.
That's the way it is. And I think that
things will never be
it all hammers down, right? It's spotlight, and there's a big spotlight put towards it. Why? Because of the record. Because you have 2 guys, your first rounder from this year and your second rounder from this year, who haven't touched the field yet, right? So when you have guys that aren't available, you have, you look at DeAndre Swift and you look at the guys that are injured. That's where your focus is. It's like when you turn on your phone, right? You don't see 250,000 missed emails, but somebody else who looks at your phone does, right? They're trying to break things down. The draft and the Brad Holmes thing isn't for this year. On the clock, it's for down the road. When you're that's where the knock is against him. Why does he draft guys that can't play right away? Well, that's sort of the Brad Holmes way. And with guys like this, or guys that get injured, you're not going to hit on. You just hope that you have a guy there to step up. That's what other teams do.
Yeah.
That's what other teams in the position that the Lions are in right now, that we view not as good as the Lions, are getting it done with guys that are stepping up. So, yeah, I think it's if it's consistently a problem, right? If you don't see Pascal this year and you don't see Williams and you don't hear it's for the betterment, really, these guys aren't for this year, they're for next year. And it's tough whenever you run into injuries, especially when a guy, right, when we're talking about Levi Onwuzurike, who's effective and a piece that we need on this defense, especially when we struggle. So where you struggle and you look why you struggle and you don't have guys there and they're hurt, well, where do you put the blame? Can't put the blame on a coach because the guy can't make a play. You put it on the GM who can't get him in the lineup. Unfair at this point, right? If this is a constant into next year and the year after, well, then it becomes an issue in my book. Right now, it's just an unfortunate part of the game.
Brandon Katz, WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Holmes' draft picks this year will be evaluated based on what Hutchinson does. You can't miss on top 5 picks in the NFL. It's too early to tell with Hutchinson, but he struggled so far. And Brandon, I'll get with you on that. Like, because of the salary commitment, you cannot miss on top 5 guys. It's like paying twice, because not only do you lose the resource, now you're saddled with that contract too, to the tune of your 5th-year options, $15-ish million or whatever that number comes out to be. You do pay twice, which low-key had always been a problem with the NFL. And that hurt the Lions. The time and space where they do actually drill those top 5 picks was the worst financial time in league history that you could do it, because you're paying Stafford $58 million on his first contract. And then you hit Calvin. And then you hit Sue. And now you're screwed because all your money's gone. You can't afford to re-sign anybody because these guys that you hit were making massive, which is why they changed the slots. And now the first-round picks are more affordable. But you are right, Brandon. You can't miss. And you are right. Hutchinson has struggled. And you are right. That pick will lead the way as far as it goes. It's just, my thing is, like everybody that wants to sit there and knock them about it, where were you guys on draft day? Because 35,000 of you watched the draft show, and we read thousands of comments that day, and there was not one negative. So,